talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get into it. If you all see smoke, that's my sage burning, okay? No need to be alarmed. The Queen's not sitting up here getting lit, okay? All right, y'all, we're about to get real messy. Okay, so first things first, we're going to talk about Kenya. We're going to talk about Trump and his shenanigans that are going on currently. And then, but also, I just got some news. That's why I started the live late, because Diddy has asked for an extension. Okay, so let's talk about Diddy first. But before we get started, hey, Truth Brown, Nessie X, above all that drama, Anita Harrell, Hadassah is here. I love that name. We the People. All right, Claudette, Buckhorst DC, all hell no. Okay, so let's get into it. Anita Harrell, Truth Brown, that's a G. And if I missed anybody, y'all know I love you. So with that all being said, hit that like button, okay? That's how you can support the stream for free. After the broadcast, please, later sometime today, double check and make sure that you're still subscribed. I keep telling y'all they're unsubscribing people after every live. They literally unsubscribed at least 3 or 4 people after the morning broadcast, okay? So make sure you're paying attention. Hey, Deronda. All right, Vince I Am from the UK is in here. So let's get into it. Before we get started, a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes oil for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, she has a lovely beard oil for men. All right, so with that all being said, let's get into these receipts about the diddler, because Diddy needs more time. Now, he wanted a speedy trial at first, but now Diddy needs some more time. So let's see what's going on here. Hold on, I just pulled up something. Okay, let me pause that right there. Okay, so with that all being said, now here is the word about what's going on. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this document that was filed. All right, so let's talk about it. Now, this was filed by Mark Agnafilo, or Mark Agnafilio, whatever his name is. Okay, so dear Judge Subramaniam, we write to update your honor regarding a request for an adjournment of the trial currently scheduled for May the 5th of 2025. This court ordered that if the defense was considering an adjournment to make the application within 48 hours of our conference on Monday, April the 14th of 2025. Okay, so with that all being said, as we noted for the court at the conference, counsel stated that we may ask for a short 2-week adjournment. Now, we have discussed multiple times the possibility of a 2-week adjournment with the government, which they opposed. Okay, you can see some of this is redacted. For what reason, I don't know. We spoke to the government today and have requested instead a 2-month adjournment, while also allowing Mr. Combs the necessary time to prepare his defense of the third superseded indictment and resolve victim Thor's evidentiary issue. Because they're saying they need more time to go through this and figure out, go through all the evidence, sift through it or whatever, and about this issue that they have going on with victim number 4. And I'm very curious as to who this person is. Now, though the government has argued to this court that the third superseding indictment is encompassed by a previous charging instrument, there is actually substantially new conduct in the third superseding indictment, about which we are continuing to receive new discovery as recently as last night. Now, I want you all to pay attention. This sounds like shenanigans and BS going on clearly, because so what they're saying is that they're still getting discovery information. Okay. Powell Bunyan said victim number 4 is Logan Paul. Yeah, sure. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, they're basically still getting information or getting evidence that they have to go through. And they said even as recently as last night. So much of this discovery, which has been produced on a rolling basis since April the 4th of 2025, was in the government's possession prior to the grand jury returning the third superseding indictment. Now, we note that the court has broad authority to grant such continuances where the government seeks a superseding indictment which operates to prejudice a defendant. Okay, so then they reference a couple of cases, and then they go on to say the government opposes our proposed reasonable adjournment request. So the government doesn't want to give them any more time. They're like, no, look, we gave you 2 weeks. Okay. And that's the most you're going to get. 2 months is not going to cut it. So even though it is still producing discovery, including discovery on count 4. Now, here's the thing. In all fairness, if the prosecution, if they're still handing over discovery, what do they expect? Because they have to have time to go through all of this and figure out a strategy, okay, and how they're gonna deal with it or whatever. So I'm not sure why the state. Well, I guess I can imagine why the state's not trying to give them any more time. But anyway, it goes on to say, even though it is still producing discovery, including discovery on count 4, a 15-year mandatory minimum count, and has indicated over our objection that it will not produce the exhibits and witness lists due today or additional 3,500 material while this request is pending. Under these circumstances, with discovery seemingly incomplete on a 15-year mandatory minimum count, we cannot in good conscience go to trial on the scheduled date. This is a problem that the government has created, yet it opposes our reasonable request. Thank you for your consideration. Respectfully submitted. This is Mark Agnafilio and Tini Garagos. Okay. So, what I'm thinking is, let me stop the share. Okay, so here's what I think. Basically, Paul Bunyan says, who got Diddy? Bling bling. Now he up in jail though. Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about, beloved. All right. That's right, Vince. Get those likes up. So here's the thing. The government doesn't want to give them any more time, and it seems like they're giving them all this information at the last minute. Okay. they're giving them discovery information at the last minute. So how are they opposing it at the same time? I'm with Mark Agnifilo on this. Doesn't make any sense to me. All right. So what do you all think? I mean, I'm not trying to do Diddy any favors, but I'm just saying, if we want to go by the letter of the law, which is what they absolutely should go by, because the last thing we need is for something that they skim over or something that the government does that's unethical comes back to haunt us later. And then they say, well, you know, we're going to have to declare a mistrial because Diddy has said that he had ineffective counsel because they didn't get all of the discovery information until it was too late and they didn't have enough time to prepare for trial. They could be saying all of these things. Okay. They could be saying all of these things. Okay. So please pay attention. At the end of the day, this is the state's fault because, in my opinion, knowing that they were going to add charges to the indictment that was already in place, they should have been doing this more, you know, I just feel like they should have done it quicker. And if it took them this amount of time to get their investigation finished to where they could do this, okay, well, they should have given them all of the discovery at the time that they came out with that last superseding indictment. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't know what's taking so long. Okay, Panther Strike says, Queen, I think the prosecution is getting what they did in the beginning, kept stacking the deck. Right, that's what it basically looks like, beloved. Okay, and now they want to complain, but you know, like I said, hopefully they need to do what they got to do, because I'm telling you, if they mess around and Diddy gets off on a technicality, I'm going to be mad as hell, and so are some of you. All right, so anyway, that's the latest on the Diddler. Diddy said he needs a 2-month extension. He has hired Mark Garagos, Tina Garagos' father. And then he also has Brian Steele, who has applied for Pro Hoc Vice, to come on as one of his counsel, even though Mark Agnifilo and Tina Garagos will be the lead attorneys on the case. All right. So Truth Brown said, Diddy do deserve fair trial, and these wild stories are hurting real victims. Yes, absolutely. Now, here's the thing. I agree with you, Truth Brown. Whether we like Diddy or not, okay, he does deserve a fair trial. Everybody does. Okay. Everybody does. So with that all being said, like Martin Luther King said, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, so with that all being said, now let's talk about the injustice of Bravo getting rid of Kenya. Okay, so with that all being said, we're going to talk about it. And here's the thing. For those of you who don't know the story or what really happened, I'm going to let Andy Cohen tell you, because he did a little breakdown of it, and then we're going to get into the receipts. And at the end of the day, Kenya may have brought some of this on herself, but I absolutely think that Brit Eady is a troublemaker who came on there trying to solidify her place on the show by coming for Kenya, who's an OG, and then she made threats. Now, one can say that these aren't threats, but I'm going to tell you right now, if me and anybody get into a confrontation where we're arguing or whatever, and then I hear them say that they have a pistol and that they always keep a pistol, I'm going to take that as a threat, and I'm going to react accordingly. You see, what I'm going to do, if that ever happens to me, well, actually, that has happened to me years ago when I was like 19 or 20. But here's the thing. What I do is not what Kenya did, because I'm petty and I'll get you back too. But Kenya went about all of this the wrong way. You see, the first thing you should do if anyone threatens you or even comes close to what you deem as a threat, and you feel like your person may be in danger, and you feel like if they do something to you, you know you're going to have to lay down that hammer. You're going to have to come back on them. You know, if they said they got a pistol, then you might have to bring yours. Okay, because you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight, do you? So with that all been said, I would have gone and taken out a warrant on her for terroristic threats. You see, now it's on the record that she's threatened me. Now it's on the record that she said she had a pistol. So if I have to put hands on her at some point because of another altercation, or if there's another altercation and I feel like I got to pull out Smith & Wesson to protect myself, it's already on the record that this woman has threatened me and let it be known that she had a weapon. So if I am afraid, then I'm going to do what I can to protect and defend myself. So that's how that goes. Okay, Nubian Cutie said, you know Kenya messy, but that's my girl too. Well, of course she's messy. She's petty, but that's not the point. The point is, you don't get to threaten somebody and just think that nothing's going to happen, that there's not going to be some sort of consequences. I just prefer if Kenya had handled it a different way. Okay, I just prefer if she handled it a different way, because this was all going too far, what she did. Okay, and so anyway, without further ado, let's just get into it, because honey, I can't wait to talk about Trump and his nefarious. nefariousness. So let's go ahead and get this started. Lights up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, this is Andy Cohen, just summarizing what actually happened. And then you're going to hear a Karen at the end who is on Brit's side and not Kenya's. And it kind of makes sense to me, seeing as how Karens think. Please pay attention.
What happened is that Brit made a comment at the end of last week's episode, like, I have a gun and a whip, or something like that.
I saw that.
And on this week's episode, they all said to Brit, that you can't say that shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right, you know, whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event, opening it with all these people there. And Brit comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Brit's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Brit leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about, someone came after me and they shouldn't have. And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she starts showing pictures of her.
With like poster board that she printed
out. And this is like
one of the pictures is
revenge
her.
Porn type.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the pictures is her. Like,
oral sexing.
Yeah. And so, and the Atlanta housewives are like, we're out. We don't want any, the place like clears out.
Yeah.
And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything get. And, so that's what, you know, and then there's a slide at the end of the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this.
Well, you know, they say, like, you know, there's all this talk of, you know, after the Me Too movement, it's like, if you show someone a dick pic or a nude pic without them saying, yes, I would like to see that right now, that's like sexual assault.
Yes, Jordan?
Well, I was going to say, the bad part of it and the sad part of it was that, like you said, it was Kenya's opening of her store that she's worked so hard for, and that it's been Kenya Moore hair care for years.
Yes.
And it was like a big moment for her.
Why
and
did
like,
she do that?
She should have been celebrating herself, but instead she used the time to like do revenge porn and bring somebody else down. And at the end of the day, it was such a bad look for Kenya.
Yeah, why would
and
she
she
do that?
sabotaged herself and her business.
Yeah. What's she thinking?
Jody from Minneapolis, what did you think?
Yay, hi. Also, yeah, I'm just so proud of Bravo and how they handled it, and all the housewives that left after Kenya showed it. It was so trashy, and it was so negative and ugly, and I don't know, I think a few years ago, not all the wives would have left after that, but I'm really proud that they all left. And, you know, Brit making that comment about the guns and the whips, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was totally like, I'm going to go kill you, Kenya. I think it was just her talking smack, and oh my gosh, Kenya just took it way too far, way too far.
Yes.
Okay, so y'all heard the Karen, right? The Karen says that Kenya took it too far. Well, she did, I agree. But she also said she just minimized it like it was no big deal that Brit literally said she had a pistol. Now, I want you to pay attention to that, because these Karens, they go out here and they start mess with people. They get all up in your face, and they're quick to pull a gun after they do something to you. Okay, and so, you know, Karens, of course, they don't have a problem with someone threatening someone with a pistol. All right, so that's how that goes. All right, so anyway, with that all being said, let's go to the next clip. Because also, I'm going to show you the receipts where Brit is such a liar. She's such a liar, and she's clearly playing the victim. Okay, and people aren't here for it. I don't think she's going to be back next season. She's already sued Bravo, I do believe, and gotten a settlement. Okay, so she likely won't be back next season. All right, so here we go. This is the clip where Brit mentions that she has the pistol.
Hold me for a second. All right. No, we're not done. We're not done. We're still catching this moment. Okay. It's a vibe. Hold on. Let me find my husband first.
I have so many things though. This is a lot.
I still got my pistol, so I'm still regardless.
Girl, Kenny's here. We ain't worried. Okay, can I put this in the car? What are we doing? I don't know. I was almost like, I know I should have just worried. Okay, thank you.
You ready? Yeah.
I just want to put this down.
I'm comfortable with you. Somebody find my husband. Where you at, baby?
Can I put mine here? I don't think my car is here.
You know? Okay, well, you want to get in?
Yeah.
Okay, baby, I'm ready. I had to let that bitch know. Don't play with me, bitch. She's good. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Everything's good. Kenya, hello, ditzy ass. Like, bitch, play that shit in front of the cameras. Don't play that with me. I don't play them games.
Black girl magic?
I don't play them games. I got whip, pistols, everything. Play that shit in front of them cameras. Don't play that with me. They need to come take this shit off. not playing with her. Do all that fake Hollywood. No, this is real life. This is real life. This is real life. I don't play them type of games. You're gonna be respectful. No peasants. You're gonna be respectful around here. And if you don't know, you're gonna learn today. Today is the day you're gonna learn. Oh, these bitches, I don't play these games.
Kenya, you riding with us?
Oh, you going now?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'll sit in the back. You can drive me. I'm Miss Daisy.
I got you, honey.
She's just one of those type of people where she wants to keep poking and being dismissive, being manipulative.
Where you go? Thongs back here.
Where you see thongs? Thongs. Yeah, she said thongs. Nah, don't act like I got thongs. Come hooch your mama dirty thongs right there.
She talking about guns. For real?
Gun.
She was talking about I still got my pistol on me. This girl is a problem. She gotta go. She gotta go. For real, for real. She got a little hype, so I'm gonna go. No, please let her do something to me so she can go. Charles Oakley is here. Oh, hey. I ain't going nowhere near Charles Oakley. I don't want no problem with.
Okay, so as you all heard, she clearly said something about her pistol and her whips. Okay, she said something about a pistol and her whips. All right, so I'm gonna keep playing these clips back to back.
But this woman was saying all this stuff like, you don't know the I am. So I did a little research and I found out who this Brit Eady is her name. That's some nasty work.
On last night's Real Housewives of Atlanta, viewers finally saw why Kenya Moore got the boot, sharing revenge porn of fellow housewife Brit, after Brit seemingly threatened Kenya with gun violence.
I still got my pistol, so I don't play them games. I got whips, pistols, everything.
It's very easy for people to just want to be on the same side as, OG cast members.
The 54-year-old's shocking exit has some fans slamming Bravo for alleged unfair treatment and wanting justice for Kenya.
I really have a great fan base.
A source close to Kenya tells ET, quote, they always make it her fault, adding Brit was the one who turned the situation violent. A Bravo spokesperson tells us weapons aren't allowed on set. After an investigation, it was determined that Brit did not violate that policy, but she was reprimanded for her threats.
So do you see a world where Kenya could re-enter?
I would love for her to tour her little fine self back on over here.
Another reality star
Okay, so now as you can see, they said they conducted an investigation and it was deemed that she didn't violate the policy. But here's the thing. Who deemed that she didn't violate the policy? She said she had a gun and she did have that gun. How much do you want to bet she had the gun? I'm going to show you something later that's going to prove that she more likely than not actually did have a pistol in her purse. Okay? They're not supposed to have pistols on set. They were filming. She said she had a pistol and I believe she did. And you'll see why when I play this clip. I'm not going to play it right now. We're going to keep going. I want to play the clips in order so we don't get confused. Now, with that all being said, you heard her make the threat. She was talking smack in front of her husband. She clearly wanted her moment to shine because Kenya had actually gotten into the car and was exiting, and she's still talking trash. And mind you, she was talking to trash that whole time. Kenya wasn't saying a word to her. She was antagonizing her, and she was clearly instigating something. So I don't understand why Bravo still has her on the show. Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. I guess they love the drama of it all. Okay, and so another thing is with the video that, or not the video, but with the pictures that Kenya showed of Brit claims that on one of the pictures where she was tasting somebody's cucumber, she says that she was a teenager. Now, she says that she was a teenager so that makes people feel sorry for her and makes it look worse for Kenya. But she was likely 18 or 19, that type of teenager, not 13, 14, 15. She had to be at least 18 or 19. And how do we know that? Because had she been a minor, Bravo would not have aired that clip. Even though it was blurred out, they would not have shown it at all because they already know what time it is. So they definitely would not have done that had she been like a minor. So she was clearly grown, no matter if she was still 18 or 19, she's an adult when she did those things. And so she's really trying to minimize her own culpability and trying to make Kenya look even worse. Okay, but let's continue.
Then she talked about having a gun, that she keeps it on her at all times. She did. So this woman was saying all this stuff like, you don't know the I am. I'm like, no, I don't know who you are. So I did a little research and I found out who this bitch is. What is it? So who is this hoe? Who is this hoe? Brit Eady is her name. This the same girl.
Oh, I'm not doing this.
We see the nose jobs, the lips, the fillers, all that.
She need a pipe there. Ooh, yeah, you're crazy. Ooh.
That's number one.
If this is just the first one, where is this going?
My good private investigators found some more evidence for me. So yeah, she used to be a video hoe. She was a trap hoe, video hoe. Okay?
Kenya, my girl, like, what is happening? We are going down a rabbit hole.
I've been in some videos where I was a leading lady. I was making stacks for an appearance.
Everybody been a hoe in their day. She been a hoe too. Come on now. I mean, here you are with this beautiful salon. We're here to celebrate you. Why the are we discussing Brit at your grand opening? Bitch, we getting the out of here, hoe.
Oh, is it that time?
I'm not gonna allow her to disrespect my friend. I can't deal with that.
Then they kept sending me information. That's some nasty work.
Ain't nobody trying to see this girl sucking nobody's dick. That is just so crazy.
Where did Kenya get this from? And why are we seeing it? And why is it blown up? You can say, oh, I've seen pictures of you. I got receipts. But to show it, I could not believe my eyes.
Kenya, that's too far. No, it ain't too far, bitch. She drank with me the gun. Don't tell me it's too far.
I am mortified. Come on now. This is too much. I did not want to stand there and seem like I was in agreement of anything. I don't support this.
Who is trying to take food out of my daughter's mouth? That's what this is about. So thank you very much for supporting me. Now I know who I can trust. Don't come for me.
Unless I say for you.
Thank you.
All right. Oh. What's lower than hell? What's worse than hell? Whatever it is, that's where we at now.
How do you feel about that? I didn't like that.
That was a lot.
It's too far.
I know it's like, okay, tit for tat at some time in this group. I know. You go low, I go lower. But this is too much.
I feel bad because I told Brit maybe she should show some support. I'm flabbergasted. What Kenya did was very distasteful. It was uncalled for, and it was hurtful. I sympathize with Brit. I empathize with her because I can only imagine the pain that it may cause anyone who's exposed that way.
But even whatever the turn events were going to be, you would never do something like that in the public, at your event, for other people. This was Kenya's big day. This is many, many years of blood, sweat, and tears, many years of effort to come to this moment, and I feel like she literally threw it away.
I'm just going to say this really quick and then I have to go. I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened. I'm getting to know Brit, but I know you. I really hate that you let that end this way. I think you're bigger than this, and I think you're better than
I am.
I love
I
you.
am. Well, listen, I'm glad everybody came, and I love
Congratulations.
you. Congratulations.
I love you. I'll call you later.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to tolerate people blatantly disrespecting me anymore.
Production, we're ready to go right now.
Like right now.
Yeah, like I don't even want to be on camera no more. Yeah, I wanted you to turn that off for me. I wanted you to take my mic off. Because you can just act like I was never even at this event.
All right, so y'all heard that, honey. It was all nefarious. Kenya darn sure took it too far. Okay, Andrea said people really get paid. Yes, honey, thousands of dollars. What are you talking about? They're not doing it for free, honey. But at the end of the day, you know, this is all nefarious. Kenya was dead wrong. Can you imagine the look on these people's faces when she whipped out poster boards with somebody down on bended knee, tasting a cucumber? Why did she do that? You know what I think Kenya should have done? Now, if it were me, because I'm petty too. But, you know, I am petty within the bounds of the law. Because clearly, Kenya didn't think that that was revenge corn with a P. Okay? Maybe she just thought it was that when a man does it. But no. So what Kenya should have done is if I had those pictures in my possession, Truth Brown said, Kenya took it to the streets. Don't threaten me. This I answered, Kenya needs to sit down somewhere. Woo, Panther Strike said, low vibrational, honey. Listen, here's the thing, though. Like I said, I'm just petty enough that I definitely, if I had those pictures, what I wouldn't have done is aired them out in front of everybody. I would have gone to Brit by herself and said, Brit, come here, let me talk to you. Yeah, you know how you was talking real slick the other night, talking about you had pistols and whips. Yikes. Let me let you know something. You see this right here? You see this right here? Yeah, I got the goods on you. Now, you don't want to be exposed, do you? I'm quite sure you wouldn't want anybody to see that. So you might want to chill the F out with me, okay? That's what I would have told her. I would have let her know that I got the goods and the receipts and invoices. All right? That's what I would have done. I wouldn't have showed it to anybody other than her so she knew that I had it. Like, girl, sit down somewhere. Don't play with me. Okay, do you really want me to go there and embarrass the hell out of you? These could mysteriously get leaked online. I mean, clearly, I'm not the only one who has them, because how did I even get them? I'm just saying you might want to watch your back. Okay? All right? And then I would have said the famous line that Kenya's known for saying, don't come for me unless I send for you. Okay? That's all she should have done right there. And she'd still be on the show and Brit would still be pressed. Okay, but no, Kenya took it all too far. See, this is the thing. When you're going to get back at somebody, you're going to do something petty, you really have to think it through. You really probably should go to one of your friends, somebody who loves and cares about you, because I really wish Kenya had done that. I wish Kenya had gone to Cynthia, okay, or somebody who cares for her and asked her, you know, this is what I have. What do you think I should do? And they could have told her, girl, please, don't do that. Okay, they could have talked sense into her. But so if you ever get ready to do something petty and crazy, you know, go talk to somebody first who cares about you and take their advice. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That was too much. That was too much, Kenya. But anyway, so after this happens, now what Brit does is she comes and soaks it all up and plays the victim card. Now she says, and she's lying, and I'm going to prove that she's lying with receipts. She lies and says that now she's lost her license. Okay. So she says that she's lost her license because she sells insurance or whatever. And so she says that because of what Kenya did, she lost her license. Now, here's how you know she's a liar who lies, because when Angela Oakley asked her, well, how? Because of what? She immediately snaps on Angela and gets upset. Why are you mad? Because she's asking you, how did you happen to lose your license? That's because she's lying. When people get caught in their lies, that's what they do. They get upset. Okay, please pay attention.
I have to deal with this with my husband, business, my license, you know.
Yeah. She mentioned to me
I have a
yesterday
real
that she
career.
lost her insurance license.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Based on
really?
what? Right.
What do you
On
think
what
based
grounds?
off of what? Are you confused? What's been going on?
It says she
Wait a
committed
minute.
insurance.
Wait a minute.
What do you think based off of what?
Where's that energy coming from with me? I'm licensed as well. In order to lose a license, there has to be cause. What was the cause? That's the question I asked. Brit, to be honest, this ain't energy.
Today is for me.
How? It's
What do you
always
mean
been
how?
for you.
How?
This energy,
What's
this
the
is
energy?
a peace offering. You're not coming in peace. I just asked you a question
You're
of
not.
how
Listen.
did you, on what
I'll wait
cause?
till
And you
you're
just
finished.
ate me up.
I'll wait till you're done.
You just ate me up.
I'll wait
And you
till
failed
you're
to take
done.
responsibility for how we
she's
even
not
got
here.
here.
You
But
don't
why?
have. Read the room.
Why?
Read the room.
Why is she not here?
Read the room.
So, Brit, how did you come about losing your license?
So this is what's going on. Because of all of the backlash and the defamation, I'm under an investigation with my insurance license. So you don't lose them immediately. It doesn't work that way.
Awesome.
So what was that, Angela?
I said I thought so.
Well, how about you be quiet?
I said I thought so.
Well, how about you be quiet?
I said I thought so.
I'm still talking.
I thought you were done.
I'm not done.
I'm a licensed mortgage loan originator. And I do know that in order to lose your license, there has to be more than just a rumor.
Would you like to twirl out?
Twirl out is wild.
Now, I want you all to pay attention how she sat there and she got caught in her lie, because she actually said that to Shamia in private, not knowing that Shamia was going to repeat it. You see, she went to Shamia and told Shamia, oh, I lost my license. That she didn't expect for Shamia to say that in front of everybody. And then Angela immediately asked her, but how? So she got on the defense, and then pay attention to how she changed the story. She said, well, I'm under investigation. You don't immediately lose it. That's not how it works. But that's not what you said initially. So you're just a liar. Okay, she is just a liar. And to verify that she does not have a license, here's the receipts right here. Okay, and shout out to Lakeisha Keisha, because she has the receipts, and I have a receipt from her not having one in Florida. Okay, so hold on, I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, as you can see on here, hold on, let me make this a little bit bigger. Now, as you can see there, she doesn't have a license. It says terminated, okay? All of these, it says terminated. It's got the dates on here, termination date 2022, 5/10/2022 on all of these pages. So with that all been said, this woman has not even had a license, okay, since 2022. Here it says 2020, 2022. She has not had a license. Okay, so she's sitting up here lying and clearly trying to play the victim, talking about that her license is being under investigation. Girl, sit down somewhere. Your license is not even active. Okay, it's not even active. Okay, please have several seats. Now, with that all being said, let me pull up the next receipt. Hold on just a moment. Now, I want you all to see the video that this TikToker did. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go.
Sure what happened here, but there was another poster board that really stood out to me that was not shown. Do you guys remember when this all went down and people that were at this event were leaking photos from the situation? And there was a photo here of a poster board that said insurance fraud ho, and then there's some text and some article. You obviously can't read it, but last night's episode, we see Angela kind of call out Brit, not for lying so much, but asking her, well, why would they just take your license away without cause? What was the cause? And then obviously we saw her snap, but essentially we know that she doesn't have her insurance agency anymore. And in fact, she was with Allstate under, their umbrella for 3 years before she ended up selling that agency. And now she has a whole agency, as she calls it, called Jumpstart or Agency Jumpstart. It's basically a masterclass on how you can be a successful insurance agent, owner, whatever, by following her blueprint. And you guys know I'm very nosy. You guys know this. So I went through and I dug through the entire website. I went through disclaimers, refund policy, went through all the bits. I did everything except buy this masterclass. And here are all the major red flags. And I'm going to say this up front. Don't ever buy anyone's course, okay? Don't. Most of the time, the things that are in those courses you can find online. You just got to do a little bit more digging. But if you really want to learn, the information is out there. Now let's get into this website and all the red flags. So first thing that stood out to me, this entire website, everything about this masterclass is so super vague. No clear outline of any of the deliveries, of the formats or modules or any of that stuff. So essentially the user has no way of assessing the value of this product before opening their wallets. Red flag number 2, no verified reviews or testimonials, not even any fake ones from any of her friends. I mean, no students have bought your course yet. I mean, I think this website opened in 2023 or something, or at least that's when the disclaimer was written, and there's no social proof, nobody, not even a Facebook group, nothing. There is a very much heavy reliance on her personal success, although she doesn't really map out what those actually are. So here's what I'm gonna say. If you actually want to be an insurance agent or own your own agency, if you just contact State Farm, Allstate, Nationwide, any of them, they have programs where they will essentially teach you everything you need to know and then help you open your agency for free. It's very limited contact information on there, so it's very vague. There's no phone number, there's no physical address, and it comes off more like a sales funnel website rather than an actual educational platform, because they use these buzzwords like once in a lifetime opportunity and get my secret sauce. There's not even any real educational credentials as she's listed. And I know she went to college, so at the very least you could put that in there, or at least talk about your experiences when you had your own agency as an insurance agent. But this is the best part. Strictly no refunds, guys. That's right. You're not going to be able to see anything about how the course works until you buy it. But if you get in there and realize this is all stuff I could have Googled, well, too bad, so sad. And if you buy into any of her subscription models and you try it out for 2 days and you're like, this has no value, well, you're still going to be stuck paying the entire month. There's no prorated refunds either. And in the disclaimer, These are also red flags. They are saying we have zero accountability for anything you see in there, or if the links that we have to other places to give you the information and they do something shady, we are not responsible, so don't come over here. And I have not seen any type of press or any type of media surrounding this company, whatever it is. So again, I wonder, is this going to be a theme throughout the season? Is this where the ladies start to pick up on maybe there's something off about this girl? Well, not sure what happened here, but there was another poster board that really stood out to me.
Okay, so as you can see, he was clearly a hot mess. Okay, so with that all been said, yes, Sheila said gives me scam vibes. Exactly, and this is why Kenya called her a fraud hoe. She called her something like that. Now, here's her website. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see it. She couldn't teach me anything, honey. Okay, please make it all make sense. I'm going to share the screen. Out here grifting the community. This is what she's doing, in my opinion. Okay. This is the website. Brit Eady presents the Insurance Masterclass. $495, girl, bye. Y'all see that? I wish I would. Okay. I wish I would, honey. Please sit down somewhere, Brit. All right. So anyway, she's trying to get her money on. Let's hear what she's talking about.
How to put everything in line to be able to map out your blueprint to success. I'm showing you how to separate yourself from everybody else. While everybody's all going left, we going right. We're not doing what everybody else is doing.
Week number 5, y'all.
For the entrepreneurs, the doers, the 9-to-5ers that are sick and tired of doing the same thing over and it's not working. I'm here to help you get to the finish line. Make this about you. Don't give up on you. Be ready to be a better version of yourself. It's gonna be hard. Nobody said this is gonna be easy, but it's all about your mind.
Girl, if you don't sit down somewhere, honey, she needs to sit it all the way down, honey, acting like a wig, okay? No thanks, ma'am. For $495, I'm sorry. It's a no for me. And then here's some more proof about her license, because this is something I dug up. And this actually was where she obviously had a license in Florida at some point. That also is inactive. And that's likely because it's inactive in Georgia, because you have to have a valid license in the state that you reside in order to have a valid license elsewhere. Okay, and clearly she has neither. See, it says Florida right there. Okay, and the issue date was 12/11/2019. All right, so that all been said, honey, she needs to have several seats is all I'm saying. Like, girl, please stop playing with us. Vince, I answered, these wigs are wigging nowadays. Okay, now hold on. Let's see what the Breakfast Club had to say about her and her shenanigans, because everybody's been talking about this, honey. It's all. Oh, and let me say this too. No, when Kenya called her a video hoe, that's what she was, and she was going to be on a reality show with Stevie J's nasty butt. Okay, please pay attention. Y'all see this? This is TMZ is even being messy. I want you all to pay attention. This is from TMZ. Receipt number 1. That whole Brit Eady was a part of Penthouse XXX SEX magazine, and she was set to be on a show with Stevie J called Penthouse Pets, where they were going to be talking about corn. Okay, there she is with Stevie J. So like I said, honey, everybody was going in on Brit, and TMZ is messy as hell talking about receipt number 1. On that whole Brit Eady, they said. I'm done. Truth Brown said, Queen, we're going to have our online of wigs soon. Okay, we sure will. This is all crazy, honey. Now we got wig number 5 joining the bunch. Okay, so like I said, let's see what the Breakfast Club has to say about all of this. Whose side are they taking? I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Y'all are so messy. Okay, now let me put my overlay on here before I start this. Okay.
online Justice for Kenya Moore movement. Kenya Moore from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So some background, Kenya Moore was suspended indefinitely for the rest of the season for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 after it had been alleged that she had gotten into it with one of the new cast members, a woman named Brit Eady. And during this back and forth that they had at one of Kenya's events for her new salon opening, and it's alleged that Kenya showed explicit photos of Britney, and it was like a whole revenge porn conversation, but ultimately that led to her no longer being able to film after that episode for the rest of the season. Now, we have not got into that episode in the season, but last night an episode aired. The women were out to dinner, and during this episode it went back to another incident that we had heard about but had not seen, where allegedly it was alleged, but now we actually hear Brit Eady, one of the newcomers, mentions a weapon, a gun to Kenya. Let's take a listen to that audio.
I still got my pistol, so I'm good regardless. Girl, Kenny's here. We ain't worried.
Okay, can I put this in my car?
Kenya, you riding with us? Oh, you going now? Yeah. Oh, sure. I'll sit in the back. You can drive me. I'm Miss Daisy. She talking about guns. For real? She was talking about I still got my pistol on me. This girl is a problem. She gotta go. She gotta go for real. She got a little hype.
Not a pistol.
Right. Now, she doesn't say, I will shoot you. But if you telling somebody what you got on you.
An argument, right?
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I still got the gun on me.
Yeah.
Like, I got my pistol. I don't care how cute you say it. You know, I don't care if it's a little pink pistol. It hurts people and it'll be a crime if you use it.
Right. Well, the reason why people are having this movement is because they feel like after now seeing this episode, because there were reports of this, and Britney came out after all the drama happened and said, that she was being targeted or hazed after the whole Kenya situation. And she mentioned that she's never once had possession of any weapons or threatened anyone ever in that same statement back in June. People are like, well, wait, network, why didn't you at that moment protect Kenya the same way that you protected Britney later on by telling Kenya she could not continue the rest of the season? So people are really upset about this. And this goes back to what we talked to Portia about when she was up here, when we asked her if she felt like the network protects its stars, because we've heard Candy and a couple other people say that they don't feel like it does.
I just think it's messed up because even though she, like you said, she didn't say, I will shoot you, but still just saying that, you know what I mean, to intimidate somebody or to scare them, that's still a potential threat. Like, you're not just out here saying you got a gun.
Okay. Exactly. So with that all being said, here's the thing. Charlamagne said also in that segment, Charlamagne asked the question, what if you said that to somebody, you really didn't have a gun, and then that person did, and they brought it out. So then what? Okay. Then what? And they could probably use the case of self-defense, depending on the situation. Okay. So Brit Eady is an idiot, and I absolutely think that she did have a gun, and here's why I think that. Okay, here is why I think she absolutely had a gun. Hold on. Let me find the clip. Oh, no. Before I go there, let me play this. Hold on. This is Brit talking to Andy Cohen.
A lot of people don't understand, and I don't either. Why did you initially come after Kenya so hard? Like at the bank dinner, why were you so agitated with her?
I think people don't realize, or even like the ladies in our friend group, she had something against me since day one. So even with the ring comment, I felt like...
But it couldn't have just been the ring comment.
I don't think it was just the ring comment, honestly.
Okay.
I think there's something that was brewing, that there was a reason why she didn't like me. I felt like she was holding on to...
But did she say anything else or do anything?
You know what? She didn't say anything, but the fact that she was just so welcoming and so nice to ladies she's never met. And for me, I never met Kenya.
Okay.
So I was like, why me? Why are you being nasty towards me?
She's lying. Okay. If you watch the show, Kenya was not mean or nasty to her ever. Kenya gave her a hug and everything, just like she did everyone else, and told her she was beautiful, if memory serves me correct. Now, the fact of the matter is, this woman came on the show gunning for Kenya because she wanted to make her spot. She wanted to validate herself by coming for an OG. That's just what it was. It was so obvious. Even when she was talking all that trash when her husband walked up and she's like, yeah, she gonna learn today. She gonna do this. Well, at the end of the day, Kenya wasn't even saying anything. Kenya was paying her dust. But she was clearly instigating a situation. Now she wants to try to flip the script and lie and act as though Kenya was coming for her. And as far as the ring incident, she had on a huge diamond ring. Okay, just a single ring. And when women are married, they usually have on a set, okay, like 2 rings. All right, the engagement ring and the wedding ring. But she only had on the 1 ring. So Kenya asked her if she was married or something like that. And she said yes. And she said, but this is my 2nd ring. So Kenya said, you've been married twice? And she's like, no, this is still the same ring or something like that. Long story short, she tried to take that and run with it as if Kenya was trying in some way to diss her. She just asked her about her ring, and that's it. She was clearly trying to paint a narrative. Okay, now listen to this, because this is where she tells Andy the lie that she never had a gun, and I'm going to prove that she's lying.
Did you have a gun that night?
Oh my God. I never had a gun. Ever.
Never had a gun?
I never had a gun in my possession at all.
Okay, so your comments at the dinner, that resulted in an investigation. Obviously, weapons are not allowed on set. It was determined that you didn't violate that policy. So now watching it back, why did you say it, and what do you think about it now?
You know what? I still beat myself up. Just the fact that I allowed her to trigger me. So it's just, there's no excuse for what I did, for what I said. And it was the heat of the moment. I'm in a rough neighborhood. I'm always used to having my husband by my side. And I felt attacked. And I was triggered by Kenya. And I was talking with Kelly on the side, like, you know how girls hype each other up or whatever. Yeah. And it was a side convo. I was talking with Kelly, and I mentioned a pistol, which I never should have. And I was wrong.
Okay, she's a liar who lies. Okay, Truth Brown says, queen of receipts, the queen go hard. Best on YouTube, period. Get them likes up. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your kind words. And yes, family, please get the likes up. Now, let me say this. Brit Eady is lying. Pretty Wing said playing the victim. Yes, that's exactly what she's doing, because here's the thing. She said she was triggered by Kenya. She said she was in a rough neighborhood. Do you think those women, as beautiful as they are, as nicely as they were dressed and elegant, that they were in a rough neighborhood? Do you all believe that they were in a rough neighborhood? They were not. Do you think production would have been filming in a rough neighborhood? Gary said, this isn't the Wild Wild West. Okay, the Wild Wild Wigs. That's a good one, beloved. Not the Wild Wild Wigs. I love it. Okay? She's lying. She was not in a bad neighborhood. And then she says that I'm used to having my husband beside me. No, she's on the show in numerous scenes without her damn husband. In fact, the only time you really see her husband is when they're at home. Now, her husband came there to pick her up that night, but her husband's not usually around. She's lying. Second of all, she says she was triggered by Kenya, but she's the one who started the incident with Kenya when they got to the place where they were at. Okay, she's the one that initiated it. Okay, so please sit down somewhere, you little liar. But hold on, let's keep listening to her lies. Now, this is her final words that she wants to say about Kenya when she's talking to Andy.
We're willing to make amends with Kenya, but anything else you want to say with regard to everything that went down?
At the end of the day, I was targeted, is how I feel with Kenya. And she wanted to trigger me. She wanted me to do something nasty. She wanted me to react. And because I left before all of that happened, she didn't get the reaction she wanted, and she planned her own funeral.
Okay.
First of all, Kenya didn't care if she did anything or not when she pulled out those poster boards. Kenya wanted to humiliate her and embarrass the hell out of her for threatening her with a pistol. That's what Kenya wanted to do. Okay, and she did kind of plan her own funeral because she got kicked off the show. So, with that all being said, but here's how we know that Brit has a gun. I'm going to play a 16-minute clip of Brit, and I want you to really listen to what she says. And this is how you know that she absolutely had a pistol when she told Kenya she did. Okay, she wasn't just blowing smoke, she had one.
Yeah.
Every time. And I keep my pistol with me always. Always.
Security that's at the gas station?
I only go to gas stations that have security there. I only go to the same gas stations if I'm in the city.
Yeah.
So it's every time. And I keep.
Okay, y'all heard that right? Y'all heard that right? She said she keeps her pistol with her all the time. So that means that she had her pistol. Okay? When she said that she had her pistol, she wasn't lying. And Bravo can miss me with it. Okay, that's what they can do. Because at the end of the day, she should have been fired. And if I were Kenya, they would have fired Brit whether they wanted to or not. You see, because I would have gone and taken out a restraining order on her, filed a charge for terroristic threats, and that way she wouldn't be able to even film on the set. That's how I would have got her ass back. Okay, that's what Kenya should have done. She should have filed charges against her, just like Dr. G on Married to Medicine. He thought he was going to file charges, but there was no crime. But with that being said, she clearly was packing. She clearly made a threat that she had a pistol. You don't have to tell somebody you're going to shoot them. All you got to do is be in an altercation with somebody and let them know you got a pistol. What are you bringing up a gun for? Because you're trying to scare me. You're trying to intimidate me. So with that all being said, Kenya had every right to go get a restraining order and file charges for terroristic threats. And that's what she should have done. Brit would have been gone. Bye. Okay, that would have been the end of her, because Bravo, even if they didn't want to, they would have had to, because at that point, if they allow her to stay on the show and something does happen to Kenya, they already know they're going to get sued. Okay, so that's what Kenya should have done. You have to think things through. See, some people, what I think about Kenya is more, she's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like when somebody gets mad about something and they just react, or they just, go and dream up something to do, and they get stuck in it. Like, this is what I'm going to do right here. But see, me, I'm calculating. Okay, I'm calculating. Always thinking. All right, and that's what she should have been doing, honey. This is all a hot mess. Okay, so clearly she had a pistol on her. Like I said, she did violate policy as far as I'm concerned. But hold on, let's look at some more of her lies. Okay, because here's another receipt where she posted on social media, Brit, that is, just telling lies, because that's what she does. Now listen to this. She says, Brit Eady, okay, hey, insurance agent here. I think it's important that what happens in our personal lives can affect our professional lives. I'm no stranger to that. I've seen so many cases online where people have been fired from their jobs for behavior due to social media access on camera phones. Oh, well, we've all seen that. What's your point? If you tuned into last night's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, I mentioned my license was under investigation, not lost. Mortgage loan officers are not versed on licensed insurance agents. It's a completely different field of work. When your job is of public trust, it's important to investigate claims of fraud. # class dismissed. Okay, well, here's the thing. Class ain't dismissed because you still need to get schooled. Because here's the bottom line. She's trying to say that basically Angela Oakley doesn't know what she's talking about because Angela's in mortgage and she's in insurance. And so that there's two different licenses and two different things. But the bottom line is, girl, please sit down. You're a liar who lies. You literally told Shamia that your license was taken. Okay, you allowed Shamia to stick with that when she repeated it. You could have immediately checked her or corrected her and said, no, it's not taken. I didn't actually lose it. I'm under investigation. That's what she could have said. But notice she only said that after Angela Oakley questioned her, because Angela knew she was lying, because Angela, like myself, knows how it works when you have a license. Okay, so she's just a liar. Now, here's what Angela posted. I'm going to share my screen. Angela says state licensure in Georgia requires a just cause for investigation, meaning the licensing board must have a valid reason, such as a violation of laws or rules, to initiate a probe into a licensee's conduct. I hold 2 professional licenses. My question still stands. What is the cause? Okay, she's not going to say what the cause is because she's telling the whole lie. All right, she's telling the whole lie. And here's the thing. Now I'm curious because, listen, I want you all to pay attention to the details, okay? Because the devil's always in the details. Now, in that post that I just read from Brit, she said, when she talked about the license and it being under investigation, she said # fraud. She said something about fraud because that is when her license will be under investigation. If at any point she was ever accused of fraud, her license then, not because somebody showed pictures of her And here's the thing. She tried to cry and act like she was so upset about the pictures. I looked at the face on her mother when she's telling her mother this. Her mother looked so unconcerned. And Claudia Jordan noticed it too. And I was so glad that somebody else said something about that besides me, because I noticed how her mom was looking at her like, girl, you lying. Girl, like, please be quiet. And then all of a sudden her mother says, oh, honey, you know, they always hating on you. But her mother was just looking so disinterested, like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just making this all up. And so it was obvious she was lying. But the bottom line is she was on there crying on the show and acting like she's so upset and everything. She said that she paid to have all of those pictures of her scrubbed from the internet. But clearly she didn't, because how did Kenya get them? Where did Kenya get them from? She got them from somewhere. So they couldn't have been scrubbed completely. Okay? At the end of the day. Now, here's what some fans said when they posted about it. They said, no, you lied for pity. Everybody with a license knew this was a damn lie. And that's true. Everybody knew. Okay, let's keep it a buck. And then somebody else said, Angela was right. The laws associated with the rights held over a license remain the same, no matter the field. Okay, everyone is entitled to due process. That's what she said. You were looking for pity. Exactly. Okay. Another person says, if that's true, then why didn't you correct Shamia when she said it? Exactly. That's the same question I was asking. So she's full of crap. Now, with that all being said, let's go to 2 more receipts. And then I'm out of here. Now, this is Claudia Jordan talking about the situation when she's with Carlos King, okay, on his show, and they're talking about it. Now, let me put an overlay on here as well.
Before you get all panties in the butt, Brit, I don't like you on the show. I think you bring very much ghetto energy. I can't take your very nasally sounding nose, the way you talk. It's just like, whoever did that, please open up those nasal passages. It's too much. Like, it's like, how does your husband's a saint? I don't like you anymore. The way you busted, how we are protecting Angela Oakley and all costs, by all means. Okay. Angela didn't even ask me anything that was negative or mean. She said, I'm a broker too. Like, how does that happen? And I did my research. Well, a little bit of research. There's a LinkedIn page for Brit and her company that she was doing her insurance stuff with, right? And I contacted a real estate agent as well, and also someone that is in the mortgage brokerage business, Brit Eady. According to her LinkedIn page, she was with Allstate full time, and that was from January of 2020 to April of 2023, 3 years and 4 months. So it says that she's been done doing it. So I don't know if she lost her license from this incident or she just, I don't know. And I also talked to someone that said, I said, so can you lose before you get all panties in the butt, Brit? I don't like you on the show. I think you bring very much ghetto energy. I can't take your very nasally sounding noise. Can you lose your license for, is there like clauses for personal behavior and all that kind of stuff? Like, what do they call those?
Morality clauses. Morality clauses.
My friend that did my loan said, no, there are strippers that do all kinds of OnlyFans, all that kind of stuff, that have these licenses that they don't lose their jobs. So that is bullshit. They said she would lose her license for financial crimes, fraud, things of that matter. Not if, and think how fast it happened, right? We are all just seeing the episode now. This happened when it happened. So you mean to tell me between that, the Kenya Moore hair care event, and then what, a month later, your company knew about this big scandal that was at a private event and you lost your license? I think she's playing the victim card extra hard now. Like, she sees an opening, she trying to come for the queen in her mind. That didn't really pan out the way she thought. She got read down and made to look like erratic. So now let me play this victim card thing. And do you see how her mother was looking at it when she was telling her story? Her mother was looking at it like, then at the end she realized, oh, I'm on TV. Yeah, that girl, because you're cool. Can you lose your license for, is there like,
okay, so y'all heard that. At the end of the day, honey, still lying. Because a lie doesn't care who tells it. Now for the last clip, Sheila said, me either. Where did Bravo get the new ladies from? Do they audition for a peach? I don't know where they got them from, but the only one that I like is Angela Oakley. Okay, that's the only one I like is Angela Oakley. And Brit's just a nasty person. She already was talking trash about her so-called friend Kelly on the show. telling when Andy asked her, because Kelly has a restaurant here in Atlanta called Nana's Chicken and Waffles. Okay, so Andy Cohen asked her on the show on Watch What Happens Live, he asked Brit Eady, what do you think of Kelly's waffles? Now that's supposed to be like your best friend. She said, oh, they're soggy. So Andy said, well, maybe they had too much syrup. And she said, no, they're soggy. Why would you say that? This woman has a whole restaurant. Okay, you know she just got a divorce. Her husband owes her $10,000 in child support. She's got to take care of the kids, all right? And then you're going to sit there and throw salt on the wounds and tell people that her waffles are soggy? I found that very interesting. I think she was lying anyway, because I've heard the waffles were actually good, okay, at Nana's Chicken and Waffles. So I don't know. But anyway, now here's something that some of the people that favor Brit over Kenya, here's something that they went and dug up. Okay. They Bob on the drum said soggy waffles. I don't think they're really soggy. I think she was just a mess. But anyway, listen. So some of Brit's fans went and dug up this old clip of Kenya with a gun, and they say that Kenya threatened to use it on Phaedra. Now let's watch this clip and see if these are the same scenarios, okay? I want to see what you all think about it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. And then we get into the politics, okay? I got to get this done. Okay, again, let me put this overlay on here. Okay.
This week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, a lot of people are saying that Kenya Moore has been vindicated. However, some other fans have dug up some old footage where Kenya Moore talks about her own pow 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 in reference to some beef that she's had with Phaedra.
I'm over it. Even though Phaedra and I have supposedly waved the white flag, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. And because she weighs 200 pounds or more, we all know that's only about an inch. You know what? Do I need to add some heat? You got a piece of steel in there? You know, because if things get out of hand, what do you have? I might just have to bring out my firearm.
Oh, that's right. I love. Okay, so let's talk about this. First of all, someone talking about something in a confessional jokingly versus what we saw with Brit Eady, who seemed really like she was ready to fight. Like she really was ready. If she had something in her hand, she would use it. But the comparison that people are trying to do right now with that scene versus what we saw on this week's episode feels far, like a far reach. However, let's say that it wasn't. Let's say that Kenya did the same thing that Brit Eady did a couple of seasons ago. Regardless, that doesn't change the fact that what Brit Eady did was wrong. It still doesn't change the fact what Kenya Moore does on next week's episode as wrong. We have to remember that this is a work environment. And I know for a lot of the Bravo fans, this sort of shady back and forth and like, oh, you can't talk about how someone can respond. Yes, you can. You are in a work environment. So if you break the code of conduct, and yes, Bravo has always had a code of conduct.
Okay, now, with that all being said, Truth Brown said these old hoes gonna pass away fighting, beefing, and throwing drinks on people. Okay, so now with that all being said, do you all think that was a similar situation between Kenya? Nessa G said there's no comparison. I have to agree. There was no comparison because here's the thing. Brit was actively in the same place as Kenya. They just had an altercation, and then she's talking as they're leaving to go outside. She's talking about a gun, pistol, and whips. She's clearly trying to be threatening or intimidating at the very least. Now, Kenya, however, is at her own house talking to her friend about Phaedra, saying that Phaedra outweighs her. And then if things get ugly, she might have to pull out Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson, okay, basically. So yeah, I don't think that's the same thing. TC Dan said French toast or waffles for you. Dan, why are you asking me these questions, beloved? And why? French toast or waffles? I'm going to go with waffles. I'm going to go with waffles, I think. All right. What do you all say? French toast or waffles? Is that what y'all were putting in the chat? Y'all got side polls going on. So thank you, Dan, for the contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so if I had to choose, I would choose waffles. Okay, what would you all choose? Ones for waffles and twos for French toast. I mean, I do like them both, but I think I prefer waffles. Claudette said waffles. All right. DC Dan said, that's my fault. I accept responsibility. Truth Brown said, damn, I thought French for the queen. Oh, so it looks like most people are saying twos. Y'all like French toast over waffles. Okay, well, I like waffles. I have a waffle iron and I like blueberry waffles the best. Panther Strike said waffles, but I like French toast that turns I make French toast. You make French toast that turns women into stalkers. What kind of French toast are you making, honey? Miss Mississippi said waffles with pecan warm syrup. Okay. I like mine with 100% organic maple syrup or sometimes agave. The agave is not thick enough for me though. It's a little more runnier, so I usually like the maple syrup. Okay. Well, now I know what y'all like for breakfast. Okay, so with that all being said, now we got to talk about Trump. Likes up, everyone, please like and share, honey, because it's all going down in the US of A. Now, here's the thing. Trump has clearly gone and lost his mind. Now, I don't know if we can bring him back. Now, so he's up the ante with the tariffs on China for 245%. He thinks he's really getting them back, I guess, because they retaliated. So now he's retaliating even more. And it's all real crazy. Hold on. I'm going to go to let me take this off the screen. Now, I'm going to go to the video so we can all see this because Trump needs to sit down somewhere. Okay. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. I'm going to go straight to the footage.
As high as 245%. That is your top DC Daily headline for April 16. Breaking overnight, tariffs on China could jump as high as 245%. A White House fact sheet on Wednesday says the new hike is in response to China's retaliatory tariff of 125%. China has said it would not increase tariffs again, even if the United States does, posting this morning, quote, China remains committed to joining hands, not throwing punches. President Trump also hinting that phones and electronics may not be exempt from tariffs after all. Small imports will also be tariffs starting May 2nd, the president closing a loophole that had allowed imports less than $800 to be tariff exempt. A Maryland senator is flying to El Salvador today to encourage the return of Kilman Abrego Garcia, who was deported in March. A federal judge giving the Trump administration 2 weeks to show what it has done to comply with a court order to bring him back stateside. Originally, the Trump administration said his deportation was, quote, an administrative error, but now says his deportation was no mistake. Harvard University refusing the Trump administration's order to end DEI programs and report students who violate the university code of conduct, saying, quote, no government should dictate what private universities can teach, who they can hire, or who they can accept as students.
And here's the thing. I forgot to tell you all this yesterday, beloved. So Trump, one of the other reasons that he's mad at Harvard is because he supposedly wanted to be on the board of directors. Yeah, he wanted to put himself on the board of directors so he could dictate to them what to do. First of all, he's not even qualified, okay? He thinks because he's the president, he can just start, taking on other tasks or whatever just because he says so. He is ridiculous. Above all that drama, said he is killing business, but too dumb to realize it, okay? And then said fool in the Queen's voice, okay? He is an idiot.
The Trump administration responding by freezing more than $2 billion in federal funds. Harvard, though, has a $53 billion endowment, the largest in the country. Well, as the trade war continues between the U.S. and China, Hong Kong says it's suspending shipments of goods to the United States. So the country says that its actions are due to, quote, bullying and abusive tariffs by the United States. The suspension will not affect letters or documents, but it will likely impact shoppers who buy things from the websites like Shein, Temu, and AliExpress. Tariffs are already having an impact on ports across the country, with some reporting cancellations of scheduled shipments. Officials say that could lead to lost jobs and an economic slowdown.
You lose jobs, unemployment goes up, there's less consumer spending, and 2/3 of our GDP is based on consumer spending.
Well, the Trump administration says it's already negotiating new trade deals with many countries, but rapidly changing policies are leading to uncertainty across multiple industries. The Trump administration has granted nearly 70 coal-fired power plants a 2-year exemption from federal requirements to reduce emissions of toxic chemicals. So the minerals will be like mercury, arsenic, benzene. This is after an executive order signed last week that was targeting boosting the coal industry. The plants granted exemptions include some of the country's largest polluters, including locations right here in Texas. Bank of America is shelling out more than $540 million to settle claims it failed to follow federal insurance regulations. The settlement marks the end of an 8-year legal fight between the bank and the FDIC. The agency accused the bank of refusing to pay more than $1 billion into the Deposit Insurance Fund. That fund is what the FDIC uses to insure customers' deposits up to $250,000 in case their bank fails.
All a hot mess as far as I'm concerned. Now, y'all hear this? So Trump is out here doing the most, and by that I mean doing the worst, okay? Basically what he's doing. He's lost his mind, like I keep telling you all. Now, let's get into it, because here's the thing. He's got the World Trade Organization shook. U.S. tariffs will make global trade shrink, according to the WTO, which is none other than the World Trade Organization. They have forecast that global trade will fall this year because of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. It added that severe downside risk, including reciprocal tariffs and political uncertainty, can lead to an even sharper decline in global goods and trade. So they said the decline is expected to be particularly steep in North America. Okay, this is what the World Trade Organization said. And then the WTO Director General, whose name I can't pronounce, called the decoupling of the US and China a phenomenon that is really worrying me. Okay, so like I told you all, it's going to get worse because Trump is just not going to stop. He's so idiotic, it's ridiculous. And then here's the thing. He was lying for Putin about something too. I'm going to get to that in a second. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. Losing economic alliances and risking national security over trade war. This is what Trump is doing. This man is a disaster. Okay, this man is a disaster. At the end of the day, what is he thinking? Or better yet, is he even thinking? I doubt it.
And former director of the Congressional Budget Office, Douglas Holtz-Eakin. He is now president of the American Action Forum. Hey, so Brian, we're seeing all of these issues, and Janice was bringing us, this factory that makes hair products and talking about baby car seats, the vast majority of which are bought in the United States are made in China. Just how much control does the Chinese regime have over Chinese industry? Because they're able to have a lot more say on everything in that country.
Yeah, and they can do it a lot more quickly than even here in the United States, where some of those actions might otherwise require an act of Congress, beyond just whatever the president can do. But I want to point out that the types of things that you were listing here, when we talk about Hollywood movies, right, they have stopped effectively exports of those types of things, as well as with Boeing jets. That has been catching a lot of attention this week. But I want to point out that in the same way that the United States is putting up tariffs to say, hey, well, you should buy domestically, those same actions are likely what the Chinese government is trying to do you with their tariff walls now built up just as high as we set on them, because they have their own domestic movie industry. They have their own even domestic plane production. They have been churning out their own jets over there. So it's not necessarily the case that Boeing's were even that substantial of a percentage of orders for Chinese aviation companies in the first place to begin with. So I do think that if it is indeed the case that that these tariffs are here to stay, if they're not a negotiating tactic, which is a kind of big question still politically, really, regardless, what we're talking about here is a potential decoupling of these two economies where China can go it alone on some of these industries. In fact, they've maybe been setting themselves up over the past few years to do so. They have their own auto industry as well. So it's a different story than, say, let's say in the 2000s, where they needed the United States to get some of this heavy industrial, also cultural types of exports. They kind of have they kind of have it domestically in some cases.
On the other hand, they very much depend on the American consumer.
Yeah, I mean, these are the two largest economies in the world, and they are very deeply intertwined. So if there is a decoupling, that's a big deal.
And Douglas, the leader of the Chinese regime was visiting Southeast Asia to try to shore up those relationships in the middle of the trade war. What kind of impact could they have? And Xi Jinping has been meeting with all kinds of leaders. I'm thinking of the Cuban regime that was over there some time ago. What impact are his visits having?
Well, the real risk here is that not only will we have some decoupling with China, but that China will forge stronger economic relations with its Asian neighbors, but also with the European Union and other traditional allies of the United States. And at the moment, we've got tariffs on Europe, and they're not negotiating either. So we're losing the economic alliances, and we're risking losing the national security alliances.
Okay, so Trump's an idiot. He's making us lose alliances, economic alliances. And then they keep talking about the decoupling between China and the United States, which basically means disassociate, no longer engage with. So what would happen if China is no longer fooling with the U.S.? Okay, and we get a lot of our goods and products from China. So like I said, Trump is just an idiot. And then here he goes lying for Putin. I want y'all to pay attention, because I like Putin and everything, but what the hell's Trump up to? Okay, why is he sitting up here lying for this man?
And also, yes. Do you have a reaction to Russia's Palm Sunday attack?
I think it was terrible, and I was told they made a mistake, but I think it's a horrible thing. I think the whole war is a horrible thing. I think the war is, for that war to have started, is an abuse of power. This country would have never allowed that war to have started if I were president. That war is a shame. Millions of people are dead that should be alive. Cities are being destroyed all over Ukraine. The whole culture is gone. Or certainly very severely hurt. The chapels, the churches, the spirals, all of the things that they had in Ukraine were among the most beautiful anywhere in the world, and most of them were knocked down and blown up into a million pieces. But most importantly, you have millions of people dead that shouldn't be dead. Think of it. Think of what a rigged election means. We wouldn't have had the war in Ukraine. We wouldn't have had the Russia-Ukraine situation. We wouldn't have had October 7th, Israel, the Middle East. We wouldn't have had inflation. We wouldn't.
Okay, so do y'all hear this idiot sitting here talking about what we wouldn't have had and then still talking about rigged elections and all that? Please, for the love of God, sit down somewhere. Do y'all hear this? Like if he was in office, everything would just be so peaches and cream and so much better. Sir, you're literally destroying the country. Hands down, okay? Hands down, we're losing. Easy. Thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, like he's sitting up here, and then pay attention to how he said that Putin told him. He said, they told me it was an accident. Oh, okay, so they're dropping bombs, airstrikes and whatnot. 34 people died, I do believe, when that happened. And he says they told him it was an accident. Sure they did, Trump. Please stop lying for your buddy Putin.
We've had the most embarrassing day or period in the history of our country. That's Afghanistan. One of the most embarrassing moments in the history of our country, Afghanistan.
No, one of the most embarrassing moments in the history of this country is when Trump got back in office and starts doing what he's doing right now. He thinks Afghanistan was worse? I don't think so. Okay, I absolutely don't think so. And then please pay attention to how he actually had the nerve to mention and literally let it fall off his lips, abuse of power. If that isn't the pot calling the kettle orange. Okay, please pay attention.
All of these things wouldn't have taken place. Think of it, we wouldn't have had inflation. But millions of people would be alive except for the fact that the election were rigged, because that war would have never started and Putin never would have started that war. Okay, any other questions?
You said they made a mistake in the attack? You said they made you were told they made a mistake. You mean it was unintentional?
They made a mistake. I believe it was. Look, you're going to ask them. This is Biden's war. This is not my war. I've been here for a very short period of time. This is a war that was under Biden. He gave him billions and billions of dollars. He should have never allowed, if he had any brain, which he didn't have and doesn't have, and now it's being proven, he wouldn't have allowed that war to start. I would have absolutely not. That war would never have taken place. But remember this is Biden's war. I'm just trying to get it stopped so that we can save a lot of lives. They happen to be Ukrainian and Russian lives. But all I want to do is get it stopped.
I absolutely cannot. I absolutely cannot with Trump. Did y'all hear this? This is Biden's war. And then he got a little agitated when they kept asking him, because they asked him for the second time, oh, so you're saying this was an accident? And he said, you got to ask them that. This is Biden's war. I've been here for a short time. Trump, please stop, okay? For the love of God. At the end of the day, please stop. Okay, just saying whatever. Now he's been held in contempt. Okay, let's talk about it. He's been held in contempt because didn't that judge tell him to get that man back here real quick? Okay, and he has yet to even make an effort to do so. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
The breaking news right now, a judge says there is probable cause to hold the Trump administration in contempt. This is in regards to the case of deporting Venezuelan migrants, despite that judge's order in his court to turn the plane around. CNN chief legal correspondent Paula Reed joins me now. Paula, what exactly is the judge saying?
Look, Dana, this is huge. We've been waiting for this opinion. Now, the judge here is still deciding punishment and the next steps. He is giving the Justice Department a chance to weigh in here. But this case, this question has, as you know, become a political flashpoint. President Trump has repeatedly attacked this judge, James Boasberg, even calling for him to be impeached. Now, much of this started last month on March 15th. The president had invoked the Aliens Enemies Act.
Hold on, do you all hear this? This idiot wants the judge impeached because the judge is telling him what he needs to do. Okay, because the judge is ordering him to do something. Do you all see how his mind works? Like, nobody can tell him anything. He's an idiot. This man really thinks he's a dictator. Okay, they need to do something to get him out of office. They need to impeach him real quick while he's talking about impeaching the darn judge.
To facilitate deportations of Venezuelan migrants. The government alleges were affiliated with a gang. Litigation commenced over the weekend, and these planes that were already carrying migrants were eventually grounded. But then when the judge ordered these to be flown back to the United States, they continued from Honduras, where they had stopped, onto El Salvador. Now, the judge has suggested that this was a deliberate attempt to defy his order. But Justice Department lawyers and sources I've spoken with disagree. They believe that a district court judge did not have jurisdiction over the acts of the administration once they're in international territory. Now, I want to read some quotes from this opinion. The judge says, as this opinion will detail, the court ultimately determines that the government's actions on that day demonstrate a willful disregard for its order, sufficient for the court to conclude that probable cause exists to find the government in criminal contempt. The court does not reach such a conclusion lightly or hastily. Indeed, it has given defendants ample opportunity to rectify or explain their actions. None of their responses has been satisfactory. The Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial orders, especially by officials of a coordinate branch who have sworn an oath to uphold it. Now, there is a little chance that the Justice Department is going to deviate from its belief that, again, district court judges cannot dictate what they do once they are in either international skies or on the ground, which is what happened here. These planes landed in Honduras. But this is notable because here you have a federal judge holding the administration in contempt, as for several months, Dana, we've been talking about concerns about whether the administration would at any point intentionally defy a court order.
Really remarkable stuff. Paula, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. My panel is back with us. And Jeff Zeleny, I know this just happened, I don't know, a few minutes ago. Are you hearing anything yet from Trump sources?
Not yet from the White House officially. They likely are waiting for the Department of Justice to respond. But look, this is something that the White House has made clear. The president has made it clear, certainly people who work around him, their view of Judge Boasberg, who we should point out was elevated by President Obama, but was initially appointed by George W. Bush. He's viewed as a straight shooter. He has a lot of conservative friends and allies as well, including some on the Supreme Court, his college roommates, et cetera. So, look, I think that this is the question here, it seems to be, and this is a 46-page ruling, as we just were looking through it. Is there jurisdiction here for him to act? Because it was moved to a Texas court, but Judge Boasberg is saying that there clearly is in his mind. So I think that this is going to be one more example of the White House pushing back at judges. We've heard what they've said about Judge Boasberg. The president has been very sharply critical of him without really knowing his true body of work, I think.
Or caring. Just more to what is underneath all of this, and that is just a reminder that there were planes that left for El Salvador, and this was after Judge Boasberg said, no, you have to wait, they can't go. And then they went anyway. The dispute is whether or not the planes were already in the air, and if they were, whether or not a federal judge has jurisdiction to turn them around if they're over international waters. The Trump administration argues, no, they don't. This judge is not buying that. He says that the government's actions on that day demonstrate a willful disregard for its order, sufficient for the court to conclude that probable cause exists to find the government in criminal contempt. It is lengthy, but one of the things he did say in here that he's offended that the Trump administration or people inside the DOJ seem to be, quote unquote, joking about this.
Look, we are not even 100 days into this administration, but it has been clear from pretty much the beginning that we were in a situation where the White House and the courts are on a collision course, and it's going on a bunch of things we were talking about earlier in the program, where this man who's in El Salvador, there's a court order to bring him back, and the Trump administration has interpreted that to say, well, if he gets back, then we would take him in, but then we deport him again. They are finding legal ways through a lot of these things so far. We don't know what will happen as these challenges keep on going. It's, by the way, also with what's happening with press access in the White House. The White House was sued by the Associated Press for keeping them out of the press pool. They fought it in court. They lost there's an injunction that said that they had to let the Associated Press back into the pool. Yesterday, what did they do? They decided, actually, we're just going to get rid of that spot entirely. That is a legal way around the decision. The question that I think we are getting to more and more immediately is what happens if and when there is a court decision that is pretty direct against what the Trump White House wants, or the president wants, and does he then say no directly instead of finding these so far legal ways?
Yeah. And listen, the president in the past has said he would follow court orders. I think at this point he is, he and his team are finding all sorts of loopholes to defy court orders. But this is also a president who finds all sorts of loopholes. Like he seems to suggest there's a loophole in whether or not he can run for a third term. And so I think it is likely that we will have a president who sees his power her as something that should be expanded. That's what he's doing. He's going after Harvard. He's going after Columbia. He's a president who thinks he should have his hand in many areas, including obviously immigration, no matter what the court says.
And it's criminal contempt. That's what this is. And the judge writes this: the court does not reach such a conclusion lightly or hastily. Indeed, it's given defendants ample opportunity to rectify or explain their actions. So criminal contempt, this is serious. And this is going to shine the light on one more time. What can be said from the White House podium or the White House driveway or on Fox News is not the same as what you can say in a court of law. So those are about to be joined here. This is a very serious matter, criminal contempt of court.
But what's that famous Andrew Jackson line that goes back to his defiance of the Supreme Court? The judge has made his ruling, now let him enforce it, right? And so that may be what we're up against here.
I want to bring in now Dave Ehrenberg, who's a former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. Dave, good to have you here. So when we look at going back to what we just learned from Judge Boasberg, so this is right in relation to the initial use of the Alien Enemies Act, saying that he believes probable cause exists to hold the administration officials in criminal contempt, and that the actions represented a, quote, willful disregard for its order. Practically speaking, holding some officials in criminal contempt, I mean, what do you see happening?
Entering a constitutional crisis, Erica, because the entity that enforces the court's ruling is the Marshal Service, and the Marshal Service is under the executive branch. Now, there is an obscure part of the rules that say that the court could appoint perhaps a local sheriff to round up the individuals responsible. I don't think we'll ever get there. Right now, the court is giving the administration a chance to respond, and then the court is going to appoint a prosecutor. If the Department of Justice won't prosecute its own people, then he'll appoint someone else to do so. But this is going close to a constitutional crisis because you have an executive branch that does not want to comply with this court's order.
I wonder, David, what it means that the Supreme Court essentially sided with the administration on the broader issue, or at least temporarily did so. Does it make this effort by Judge Boasberg a moot point to a degree?
Judge Boasberg, Boris, addressed that in his ruling. Supreme Court did sort of a technical change to Judge Boasberg's ruling, saying that you have to seek what's called habeas in court. You got to go to a local federal court, and that's where you appeal to the judge, whereas Judge Boasberg said you can do it all as a class action in Washington, D.C. Sort of a technical difference, and that's why Judge Boasberg is saying that you have to comply with his order, that what the Supreme Court did does not eliminate the need for the administration to comply with the federal court's order. And the administration blatantly disobeyed the order. In fact, they were bragging online. He pointed to Marco Rubio retweeting President Bukele's comment that, oopsie, too late. So he said this is a willful violation of the court's order. And even if you disagree with the court's order, the answer is to appeal it, not to disobey it. And this administration disobeyed it. But you can bet, Boris, that this case, this contempt matter is going to go back up to the Supreme Court. So there's still a while of more proceedings ahead.
Meet Niles Knerk.
Okay, so you all heard that. Now, here's the thing. This is a very important case because Trump is just doing whatever he wants. He doesn't have any respect for authority other than his own. And the bottom line is, if he can just not allow that man to come back, he could do that to citizens from the United States. What if they started, like I told you all yesterday, because he's already said, and he wasn't joking, he was very serious, when he said that he wanted the prisoners or criminals from the U.S. to be sent to El Salvador. Okay, and what he's talking about is akin to human trafficking, okay, whether they want to call it that or not. That's absolutely what it's akin to. Okay, so that all being said, if he were to do that, and then a judge tells him you got to bring those people back, you can't do that, he's going to do the same thing. Okay, he's going to do the same thing. Act like it was already off the ground, the plane was already over international waters, and now y'all have no jurisdiction. Okay? So this is all crazy. Vince I Am said, like you said before, human trafficking, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what this is. Like, how is it not? Okay, you're taking people Okay, you took this man and sent him over there, right? And now you're leaving him there. This sounds like 12 years a slave. The man was free over here, snatched up from his family, taken somewhere else, dropped off, and he can't come back of his own free will. He's been held captive in a nefarious prison. Okay? This is absolutely egregious. And then he's talking about taking people from here that are citizens and sending them over there. For what? Has he made some sort of backdoor deal with the president of El Salvador? I believe so. We already heard him on the open mic, how they were sitting there, you know, talking about it. Okay, you think they were joking? They were very serious. So Reggie says the human trafficking is exactly what it is, or else how would Trump know how to? Okay, he's got this all figured out. So I just find this all very bothersome. Now let's go to this town hall meeting where they had Senator Chuck Grassley and the people were pretty much laying into him. Okay. Claudette said, what about the 19-year-old that got deported? I didn't hear about them. Now it's a difference than if they were supposed to be here. That man was supposed to be here.
Faced questions from constituents at a town hall in Fort Madison, Iowa, over the Trump administration mistakenly deporting a Maryland man to a notorious Salvadorian mega prison.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
The Supreme Court said to bring him back.
Judges are. The president is upholding the Constitution.
He's defined the Constitution.
You're on the Judiciary Committee.
Trump don't care.
Guatemala is where El Salvador is an independent country. The president.
Speak up, please. We can't hear you.
The president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
We would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Our government cannot do anything.
Trump isn't a kid.
Why won't you do your job, Senator?
Tempers flared at Republican town halls across the country on Tuesday, a sign of growing anger, at least among some Americans, with President Trump's policies.
But even in the face of testy constituents, those lawmakers continue to show loyalty to the president. In suburban Atlanta, disruptions by protesters at an event for Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene led police to arrest 3 people. Now, instead of answering questions face-to-face, Greene required that they be submitted in writing ahead of time and mocked some of the critical ones she read out loud. Senator Chuck Grassley faced his own crowd of frustrated voters in Iowa and was repeatedly urged to stand up to President Trump.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador?
Okay, so you all heard that at the end of the day, he's not going to try to do anything to get that man back over here. And it's really a darn shame. Now I'm going to go to this veteran talking at that same town hall meeting. And he was just talking about the issues that he's having now that Trump's in office. And he probably voted for Trump in all seriousness. I'm going to fast forward.
Time for one more quick question.
You get people that are unemployed, or B, people that are retired, people with day jobs, maybe people that work the night shift. But my question is in reference to this, sir, is understand I'm a U.S. Army retired officer, and I retired in 2017, and I started working at the VA. And this year, after the inauguration, thus far, I've seen our president. He's put forth executive orders. The first one being, I telework, and without reason or cause, he abolished all teleworking. That adds either a half an hour or an hour, because I work in Iowa City at the VA hospital. That hour adds an hour to my day going, because driving there takes a half an hour because I live a half an hour away, and then another half an hour to take a bus to get to the hospital, because if you've ever been to Iowa City, I went to the University of Iowa and graduated. It takes a half an hour to get from your parking place to the location where you're either working or if you're taking classes. And that would add 2 hours every day for me. I would work 4 days every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at home, and I would work in the hospital Friday. So now, because no reason that I know of other than your fellow Iowa senator who pushed the narrative that the people that work for the government are lazy and are sucking the tax dollars from the American people, and it pisses me off as a veteran and as an employee of the VA, the hospital. But after that, we got an email from OPM, the Office of Professional Management, or whatever it calls. We got an email very similar to the email that Musk sent Twitter, the fork in the road. And it said, you can resign now and get paid till September, or you can just keep working, but we can't guarantee your job here. And that went out to every single federal employee in the executive branch. I know it went out to some of the judicial branch people, but it didn't apply because they don't fall underneath it. And how many staffers do you have here? I'm sure they didn't get it because they're not in the executive branch. But all of us, GS and wage grade employees that work in the federal government, we got that. So I could have resigned. I didn't see a lot of intelligence being put into that, because basically we did have people resign because some of them were probationary employees, and the probationary employees, if you remember, were the first ones to get fired for cause, but it was done illegally and they got fired. One of my fellow workers, she resigned so she could get paid till September, which doesn't make sense to me. How are you being efficient, when you're letting all these people go home and they don't work, they stay on the books, so we can't hire anybody to replace them, and there's a hiring freeze, so we can't hire anybody for 90 days after that. But also after that, they did fire the probationary employees, which I found to be very troubling, because as my understanding, it's illegal because they fired them for cause. The AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees, the union for the employees at the hospital here at the VA in Iowa City, they took them to court and they won.
Okay, so I think we've heard about enough of that. At the end of the day, everybody has all these complaints. Trump's destroyed everything for us all. Okay, and I find it also nefarious at the end of the day. Gary said Trump is nothing but a hillbilly in a three-piece suit who left his hood in the closet. Now, that was a read, beloved, okay? That was a read. If ever I heard one, I love it. Okay? Not left his hood in the closet. Woo, honey, I am done. I am so done with you. Okay, Gary, that was a good one, beloved. So, Gwendolyn says, Queen, you deliver us loyal royals a masterclass every day. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so here's the thing. This is all serious. That man sitting there complaining about all his problems and whatnot. I promise you that Senator Grassley doesn't give a damn. I promise you he doesn't give a damn. He's going to sit there and listen, but at the end of the day, that man's not going to do anything to help them. He does not care. Okay, he absolutely does not care. Okay, please pay attention. Sarah said, I love your hair, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, so listen. Y'all just better buckle up for the bumpy ride that's ahead. Trump is destroying everything, hands down. And somebody put something in the chat about Harvey Weinstein winning his appeal. I talked about that, honey. I didn't forget. You said we're distracted. No, we're not. Over here on this channel, baby, we're not distracted ever, under no circumstances. Okay, we talk about a myriad of things. If it's trending, we're on it. If it's important, we got it. Okay, please pay attention. So with that all being said, they don't call me the queen of receipts for nothing. And we will further be talking about Harvey Weinstein tomorrow, because the elephant in the room is his health during this trial. Okay, so he's trying to act like he's all sick and whatnot. I mean, he may be sick, but I find it interesting because the timing. And let's not forget how when he was on trial before, he came in there on a walker, looking all old and feeble. We didn't see him on the walker before. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I have questions. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And we're also going to talk about Carmelo Anthony tomorrow. Okay, and so make sure you all tune in. Okay, make sure you all tune in. My camera will likely be off because tomorrow is a gym day. Okay, and on gym days, I don't like to get all dressed up and all that. All right? After I come back from the gym, because I usually go to the gym before I do my broadcast, and come home and shower and just throw on something. So don't expect to see me tomorrow is all I'm saying. Don't expect to see my face. The camera will likely be off, all right? So with that all being said, TC Dan says, and I'm sure there will be more Trump news per usual. You already know. Okay, you already know. Truth Brown said, who needs to get dragged today? Y'all are crazy. And Vince I Am's talking about the Queen said what she said. Claudette said, never a dull moment. Truth Brown said, who wants the smoke? Oh, hell no, said the Queen. No ASAP Rocky views. Okay, y'all thought I was joking the other day when I had the camera off? And I told y'all, okay, because DJ Big Six was sitting up there being all nosy in my business talking about, Queen, something wrong with your camera. And I said, it's nothing wrong with the camera. Okay, I have it off because I'm sitting here looking like ASAP Rocky. And I was, all right? I was sitting up here with a bandana on, straight up, looking like ASAP Rocky, okay? So with that all being said, Easy said, Queen, keep it locked and cocked at all times in these streets. You already know, okay? Okay, you already know. That's why Brit Eady better be glad she didn't tell me that she had a pistol and whips. Like, girl, say what now? Honey, I would have turned all the way around real quick and say, what did you just say? Oh, okay. 911, okay, go take out the warrant and then run up on me if you want to after that, because it's already a done deal. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Reggie said his name is Weinstein. Okay, anyway, with that, I've been saying I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. Okay, if you missed the spiritual broadcast earlier, I did a live on there, so go check it out. And I will see you all in the morning. Now, if any more breaking news comes out tonight, honey, y'all just going to have to hear it somewhere else first and then get it from the Queen in the morning, because I am done. I am so tired of y'all right now. Do y'all know y'all have literally worked me like Kunta Kinte today? TC Dan said, Queen, that Obed roast was off the charts. Yeah, it was. But that wasn't me. That was y'all roasted that man for filth. I was just laughing. Okay, I was just laughing, beloved. But thank you for the contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so I will see you all in the morning. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. I got to get off of here, honey, because I'm about to make me some fried oyster mushrooms and some potatoes. Okay? So anyway, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the Queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the Queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awake and ain't no going to sleep, I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got